Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, I'm delighted to introduce you to a very talented author. His name is Martin Terrell, and he has written a very inspiring book. It is called You're Only Innocent Once, and once is not enough. This powerful narrative showcases Martin's journey from being an ex-felon and drug abuser to breaking free from the cycle of recidivism through education, leading to unparalleled success after his release. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful and inspiring book. The links are below this interview. Martin, thanks so much for being our guest today on Spotlight.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. Your story is really a remarkable transformation. Tell us what motivated you to change your life while you were in prison.
Well, to tell the truth, there are a number of things. The basic thing is that I was mad as hell, because I was innocent and I was sent to prison for something I did not do. And I had been guilty before. That's what made me angry. So there were a number of people like myself that I grew up with who had committed crimes and had gone to jail. And I was one of them. But they had all been like me. They were Black. That's what made it worse. And what made it worse for me is that I was innocent and Black, and they wanted me to confess. I said, no, I'm not going to confess this time because I'm innocent. I want to go to trial. I went to trial, and they convicted me quickly, sent me to jail, gave me the maximum sentence. So I said, I want other people to see how this can happen to someone who is innocent, because it can happen to anyone who is innocent, particularly if they're Black. Something is wrong with our justice system. If it can happen to me, because I was working at a college. I was working as a drug counselor. I was going to Ohio State University part-time. I came home from the school, going to my apartment, and bam, everything explodes and they arrest me. So if it can happen to a part-time college student who's working as a drug counselor, it can happen to anyone. And I said, I have to write about this. People have to know something's wrong with our justice system.
Yeah. Well, justice is only afforded to people who have means. If you have money, you can buy justice. If you don't have money, there's a office building filled with lawyers called the district attorney's office that's going to put you in jail if they decide to put you in jail. And police will manufacture evidence. They will bend the truth. They will outright lie. I've spent a lot of time in courts as a news reporter, and, it's unbelievable. When they decide they're going to convict somebody, they're going to convict you. If you have the money of Donald Trump, you might be able to clear your name. But if you don't have the money like Donald Trump has, you're out of luck if the government goes after you, because you're going to get squashed like an ant. Fortunately, you had this terrible experience about being jailed unjustly, but you were able to turn it around. When you came out, how were you able to pick yourself up, particularly after being branded a felon now, an ex-felon?
Well, Logan, here's the thing. I've become religious about education. While I was in Chillicothe, there was a joint effort between Chillicothe Correctional Institution and Ohio University, and they offered college education to the inmates there. I was mad enough and luckily had sense enough to get into that program. And graduated summa cum laude, and something that they rarely did, they gave me a full scholarship to go to the university, graduate scholarship, when I got out.
Hmm.
And I did, and got a master's in journalism degree.
Hmm.
And by that time, there were people along the way who offered their hand to help me in the professional life, and I became a fundraiser, a campaign fundraiser for Ohio University. Then went to Florida State with my supervisor. He went there and pulled me down.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Florida State. Then from there, Stony Brook University, they wanted me as a VP for advancement. And I ended up at the United Negro College Fund in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. My being an ex-con didn't mean anything, because when I told the people that I had been innocent and what I had done inside, not just what I had done, what education had done for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's what made the difference. And I became a disciple for education, you may say.
Wonderful.
I think
Education is the key. It's a great equalizer, really.
yes.
That if you're smart, that gives you the power to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make something of yourself. This country, though, it's tough to get that education. It's expensive. It's not available to all. The children who need it the most often get it the least, particularly in
You're right.
in a grade school level. You know, that's when it really counts. That's when kids are really, brains are growing like, you know, wet
Right.
sponges. But that's when they're denied the education often. So how as a society do we fix this?
Well, we can't wait until people go to prison to give them an education. One of the things that I saw, and when I was in school, is that the schools in the poor neighborhoods right now have been denied the opportunities the schools in the wealthier neighborhoods are getting. And I think that the school boards, the money they're getting, is not being equally distributed for one reason or another. Who makes those decisions? That's what we need to find out. And why are they making those decisions? It's on one level, preschool level, that's where it begins, I think. Mm-hmm. It begins at that level, because when you come in to kindergarten, first grade, if you start off behind, you stay behind. And here's one thing I'd like to mention. There's a pipeline from a school to prison that really keeps a lot of Black kids behind. Mm-hmm. And there's an open door to prison, because they're the ones who get put behind because because of their behavior, they seem to be labeled as the ones who are bad kids. Mm-hmm. And they're not. And it's a pipeline. They get labeled as bad kids and put out, and they get behind academically, and they end up going to prison.
You would think as a society, we would realize that it's cheaper to educate someone than to incarcerate them, right?
No. Yes,
it's you know, it only makes sense. You know, we're worried about crime, we're worried about shoplifting, we're worried about this and that. You know, be proactive. I mean, all we do is react. We want to come up with stricter laws. We want to hire more cops. We want to build more prisons. Why not hire more teachers? Why not build more schools, better facilities? You know, that would be the great equalizer. And how come nobody on the left or the right talks about this stuff? You know,
But
All the left wants to do is decriminalize crime, and all the right wants to do is lock you away forever.
lock them up.
Yeah,
Teachers are
that's
the
not a
angels.
solution.
Teachers are the angels walking amongst us.
Yeah,
They are the ones. They're the ones we need to pay more and put into our schools more. Here's something that I brought with me that I wanted to say.
sure.
The prisoner is the product around whom the entire prison system is built, but the product is built to fail. I was paroled twice, came back each time, but statistics and theories have been posited about recidivism and how to beat it. It is a story that has been studied by criminologists and others without having a living prototype to validate their studies. I am that prototype. I can prove that recidivism can work, but you have to have the tools to make it work. And that tool is education.
Absolutely. And you said it best. Teachers are the angels among us. Let's hire more of them. Let's pay them more. Let's get them in the inner city where they're needed. Martin Terrell has written a terrific book, an inspiring book. He is a man who was unjustly jailed, unjustly labeled a felon, but he turned his life around. He did it the old-fashioned way. He did it through education, and he has built a wonderful life around that education. And now he is educating others with his own life story. It's called You're Only Innocent Once, and Once Is Not Enough. It is highly recommended. The links are below this interview. Martin, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Logan, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. True pleasure meeting you as well. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.